Hello, men. This is Chris with the Age of Reason. Today, I want to just go over a couple thoughts that have been in my head for a while. Not particularly, I don't know. Let's just run with them. I don't really know how to introduce them. So, by the looks of things, we are living currently in a completely evil, maybe even what some would call satanic system, where the powers that be will stop at nothing to tighten the screws on men and women and families and people in general, regardless of their race, regardless of their sexual preference or identity. They've allowed for men and women to refer to themselves as to anything that they want, because no matter what, they will levy control over everyone. They don't care what pronoun you want to be referred to. They don't care. All they care about is that they have absolute and complete control over you and absolute jurisdiction over you at all times, so that they are able to do whatever they want with your body, with your blood, with who you think that you are on the external. Now, during this time, I find it somewhat, I don't know. I guess if I were an atheist, I would be very confused right now, because I think that an atheist would have just as many questions about why the state of the world is where it is right now as someone who is a religious-minded person, or spiritual-minded even. I couldn't see how even the most brutal atheist right now would be able to reconcile the looming torment and torture and control and death and poverty that they are willing to bring to everyone. I cannot see how anyone could reconcile this. It is an evil agenda, an evil plan. Regardless, I don't care how removed from it you think that you could be, as an atheist would choose to remove his or herself from religion. You could only remove yourself so far from the state of the world at this point, and you still have to observe it and attempt to reconcile the anxieties and the suffering and the coming closure of everything that people are used to having and experiencing. And so I was reading in some web forums or a Facebook group post or something. I was reading somewhere, and somebody was asking why mankind has this religious tendency, this urgency, this feeling inside that sometimes may seem irrational externally, to put faith in some form of a higher power. And it didn't take me long to think about this, and I'm sure I'm not the first person that has thought this before either. Why do people believe in God or Allah or Yeshua, or whatever you may call the higher power? Why do people believe in this? Well, because people have seen suffering. We have experienced suffering. Everyone has experienced suffering, and we see it continuing, and now we see it growing even greater, even larger than what we had previously thought it would be within our time scale. And most people don't enjoy suffering. In fact, I think even most brutal sadist, if they were to experience the true suffering that's coming, which they will not appreciate it when they feel it. Okay. So why do people believe that there's going to have to be some form of a God to intervene with everything? Well, people believe this. People feel this way because on the broad scale of things, mankind is incapable of turning the tides for its betterment in general. The general consensus of mankind, of the poor, and when I say poor, I mean financially poor, who have no power with finance. In other words, if your rights come at the cost of the dollar and you have no dollars or very few dollars, you have little power in this corporatized reality. It's going to have to take some third party, some external source to come down and stop everything somehow, because the general masses are completely incapable of it. It's just not possible for all of mankind to come together on its own accord and start cleaning house, so to say, to start putting the people that are in control out of control. Many people, the general masses, are very uneducated or lack critical thinking or analysis. They're not the designers of civilizations. They are not architects of buildings. They are typical men and women throughout the whole world with average IQs, sometimes lower than average IQs, and therefore these people would never be able to stop the force of what is coming down to cause harm on them and their families and their friends and their neighbors and basically everyone whom they love. Mankind is incapable of stopping such great evils. Mankind is capable of doing great good and great evil, but in terms of battling, pardon me, not even battling, but stopping, because the battle is just, the battle continues, the battle wages on. A battle never really ends. To stop something as sinister as what's on the horizon, mankind is not equipped to do this. And when I say mankind, we have to always think about what makes up the general population of any civilization. It's the poor. Okay. Now, mankind is a word for all of mankind, of course, but those who have a little bit more than what we think of as the financially poor, they are also not capable of coming together and stopping this overall, all-consuming state of evil. For whatever word you want to call it, it's evil. So this is why people need to have a faith. We need to have faith. And faith is sometimes thought of as ridiculous or silly or unfounded, but after a while, what else does one have left? What do you have left? You just watch everything burn down, and you know that you don't have the tools on hand to put out the fire. You don't have the water ready or the chemical agent ready to extinguish the fire that's consuming your home. What else can you do? You get your shit out and you have faith that you'll survive it. You get your blood out, and you have faith that you will find the door amidst the smoke and the heat and the confusion as you're inside your burning home. And this world that we thought that we knew, it's burning. It's burning in hell right now. Hell is on earth. Earth may have always been hell, and we never even knew. Who knows? There's a million ways to think about what is reality. But what else is there? If you don't have the tools required, if you don't have a compass to navigate through the woods, or the maze, or however you want to look at things, what else do you have? And that's where the faith itself becomes your compass. The faith itself is what will let you come and pass through what has happened when it's all said and done. And these are very confusing times out there for everyone. You can read the articles in the newspapers, if you still read an actual paper, or on the internet, and you will see that they're telling you what to expect down the pipeline. Governments are now starting to consider children as their asset. Once you sign a birth certificate, you've already signed your perception of ownership of your blood, your stock. You signed off your stock in your blood to a corporate entity. And the states, the government states, are hoping that you will remain ignorant of this and never learn the truth that they are corporate entities, and they only have as much authority as you grant them, with the power of your signature, of course. So they're starting to lock things down, and children are being forced into these so-called online education programs and things like that, and children are falling asleep at home, and they're missing their courses, and it's very confusing on the parents. This happens to people that I work with right now. The parents don't know how to adjust to this, and they're terrified of the powers that these entities are creating. These entities are creating powers and authorities behind closed doors now. They're forming coalitions and starting new mandates, which are not laws, that people will fall in line with, and they will accept these things. But the problem is that people are not made aware that these things are even happening to begin with. Okay, so as this world is turned into, as it shifts into this so-called new normal, where those who control everything with their evil agenda, what they want to do is they want complete and total jurisdiction over you within your own home at all times. So in other words, they will remove any thought of privacy that you ever thought that you had at all. So that's why you will school your children from home. You will go to court from home. You will see the doctor from home. Complete and total jurisdiction over you at all times. It has been now over a couple of years. The internet has pushed this mental health from home, C&E psychologists and things like that. All of these are legal entities that can report anything against you anytime that they want. So you are granting them jurisdiction over you. If you take part in these systems, you're granting the jurisdiction, and you may have never even thought about it as such, as deep, as much, And this is what the systems need. They need you to never think deep enough about these things that they're creating. So back to mankind not having the power. Of course, I could only reach a few people with even these simple words to make somebody think. I have a very limited scope, of course, of what I could do. Now, you multiply that by the millions of people that don't have a clue or are trying to tell people, but they can't get their thoughts out. And you will see that mankind itself has no power. Has very limited power, at least. Mankind was given the power to live on Earth, and that's really about it. We have the power to live. Anything else within this life system, this version of reality that they have created and thrown us into, all of that is completely removed from life. It's all corporatized, it's all fictional, it's all dead. It's not standing. You show up with a suit for court, you show up in a suit for your wedding, and they bury you in a suit. There's some kind of odd thoughts there, huh? Your final resting casket, and you're dressed up in a suit and tie many times. That's kind of strange, huh? I don't know. But again, this is why mankind needs something which takes a lot of ridicule as faith. Because what else is there? If we all know that mankind itself is very limited in its powers, in other words, it has only the power to live, because, fighting, eating, going potty, building a family, everything else, that's all just living. Mankind only has the power to live. It cannot change things organically on its own, of its own accord. Many times mankind, even at the individual level, cannot change how it lives, and families and neighborhoods and things like that, because of the division of the flesh reality. Oh, I don't know, guys. Just some thoughts that have been going through my head. I haven't touched base with anybody in a little while. I haven't put out anything particularly thought-provoking or whatever. I've just been getting through day to day, the 9-to-5 grind, like many of you. Still driving the scooter around here. It's getting cold. I will be taking the scooter back and forth to work. It's our only vehicle. I need to get some things for it, some heated gloves to keep my hands warm, some new tires, some new brakes, but it'll be fine. That's what we do. We continue, we live, and we work with the limited power that we have to navigate the things that must be done, to navigate the maze, navigate the gauntlet. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys are all doing good out there. I really do. I hope that everyone is taking care of themselves and their family and their loved ones. And I hope that everyone continues to think, because if you don't think, what else do you got? I think, therefore I am. And what is a thought? It's something that happens in a mind. Mankind only has a little bit of power. The thought, the abstract of reality. Never forget the nursery rhyme that told us, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. This is Chris with the Age of Reason, reminding all of you again, as always, to keep both eyes, all three eyes opened at all times. Go further. Pay attention. They're not hiding the evil from you. They can't. They can't. They cannot. If you want to, if you invite the vampire into your home and you knew it was a vampire, the vampire, Dracula told his victims up front, well, I am a vampire. Let me in. It's cold out here. Okay, come on in. Donald Trump reminded us all, you knew I was a snake before you let me in. So in other words, they're telling you their evil agenda, and they'll find a strange way to spin it so you don't think. Okay, they'll make shit up that tugs at your heartstrings. For instance, I just read an alleged suicide of a 16-year-old teenager. His name was like Spencer Smith for the double S code, and he murdered himself. He committed suicide because of COVID-19 isolation. Okay. Tugs at your heartstrings, right? And for some reason, the parents are saying, this happens to all the kids right now. They can't adjust. Bullshit. What this is a story to tug at your heartstrings so that you will introduce yourself to further jurisdiction over you through internet-based psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, etc. Pay attention. Don't let them get your heartstrings. All right? Don't let them get your heartstrings. I don't care how depressing the story is. They are master writers. They are masters. All right? They tell you what they're going to do. They tell you what to expect. But they need you to comply with it. They cannot just force you to do things. You have to comply with everything. At every point in your life, you are in control of the body that God has put your spirit into, your soul. All right? Pay attention. I'll catch you guys all next time. Leave me some comments. Send me an email. I'll talk to you.